to the cloud. Boom. Here we go. It's insane how fast this goes. Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Excellent. We still have a few more people joining in.
Ourselves.
Did everybody, did you print out your sheets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You want me to print the sheets?
If you did, mute your thing, mute your thing. Mute your screen for right now. We'll open it up later. Boom, boom, boom. Wow. Looks like we almost have a full house here. Oh, that's great. Good. A few more people. So before we get started, I sent 3 different links. One of them is a tasting sheet. You can follow along with that if you'd like. The other 2 are maps of the region. One of the Loire Valley, one of all the wine regions in France. Just give you a general idea where everything's located and all the different connecting AOCs that kind of relate to what we're talking about today, what we're tasting today. A few more people. We're up to 25.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, what's going on, Tammy? How are you? I'm gonna hit you on mute.
Diane's back here too.
Hey, Diane, how are you? Is that 10 feet or 6 feet? I got the tape measure. If you're anything less than that, I gotta check.
I got a mask around here somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No fair, you two.
No fighting.
I know
Right.
you.
Excellent. So we got 25 people in the room. If more show up, we'll hear the doorbell ring. We'll let them in, and we'll get started. So everybody, pour yourself a glass. We're gonna start off with the white first. I don't have the white with me, but you all are gonna start with the white. Everybody got your glass? Whatever you got handy. Excellent. All right, hold up your glass, everybody. Cheers. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out in the audience tonight, and to everybody else.
Happy Mother's
Thank you
Day.
very much for attending today. Cheers. Ooh. Excellent. So again, thanks for participating for tonight. As I said in the email, we had over 30 people sign up for this, which is tremendous. Again, Wine 101 is a small business, but with us tonight is Mary and Bill from Drinkable Arts Imports. They are a small family business representing other small family businesses, vineyards, wineries from France, and they get them here to us in Connecticut. I admire their hustle and everything that they do to get these wines here, and how much ground they cover with just the 2 of them. It's just you 2, correct?
That's it.
Whoops, it's on mute, Mary. There you go.
Yes, it's just the 2 of us.
There you go, Mary. So Bill is in France right now. Mary is in New York, and through the power of Zoom, we could get them right here, which is pretty cool. I enjoy that part of the Zoom format. So get into a little bit about Drinkable Arts. Let everybody know what you do. You've been in the store several times. You've done several events for us. But for those people that don't know Mary and Bill, just introduce yourselves and let them know what you do.
Sure. Father-daughter business, as Chris well said, thank you. And we essentially, 3 years ago now, had the idea of just wanting to represent the smaller guys in France in a better way. And so we did the right maneuvers to get the right licenses, all of that. And we just go ahead and hit the pavement and hope to meet some good people like Chris to be able to share all the good wines with you guys.
Pretty much.
I agree. The father agrees.
Now, Bill, what part of France are you in right now?
Right now, I'm in Le Mans, France. So if you see where Paris is, and then you go southwest for about 2 hours, it's where the famous car race is. and it's about 20 minutes from the beginning of the Loire River Valley, but on the complete opposite end from Sancerre. We're closer to the Atlantic Ocean than we are to Burgundy.
And at the
And
beginning
tomorrow,
of what's that?
we're coming out of confinement or lockdown tomorrow.
They're coming out of confinement tomorrow. That's
It's
good
the
news.
celebratory night for France.
Yeah,
So
big
I'm-
celebratory.
I stayed up late to celebrate with you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. So let's get into the tasting. What makes Sancerre so iconic? I mean, most people, when they look at French wine in general, it's very confusing. The labeling is very confusing. What goes into the wine is very confusing. The regulations are just mind-blowing at some of these AOC appellations. But Sancerre, people know Sancerre. They identify Sancerre really easily, and it's one of the more recognizable appellations in France, especially for the white Sancerre that you're all starting with. So what makes this region so special, in your opinion?
You want to take it or?
I'll take it.
I mean, Sancerre in itself is just a small village. I think what makes it so special is really the Sauvignon Blanc part, which is always a easy grape varietal to start. And then it's a region that's full of limestone and clay, and just limestone. Actually, I have one right here. Looks like this, but is what all of the castles in France are made of. And I think that's what gives it more of a dry and crisp taste, more than maybe your New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and really what they call the terroir is what makes it so special.
True. All of that is very true. Sancerre is in the upper Loire River Valley. And if you were to look on a map, you can see Sancerre and Chablis are only about 100 miles apart.
Right.
And Chablis is Chardonnay and Sancerre is Sauvignon Blanc. But they're kind of two sisters from a different mister. There are a lot of similarities between them. And the reason for that is the limestone. They're the only two wines in the world that share what type of stone called Carmigian, which all of the Chablis are made of, and Sancerres are made also have that in their soil as well, the rock. And they have three basic types of limestone. They have the Cayette, which is a pure limestone. Terre Blanche was a clay limestone, and Silex, which gives it the flinty taste. Silex is the flint. Very often you say that Sancerres are flinty at the same time. That's the mineral side to it. So I think what makes Sancerre different from the other Sauvignon Blanc from the Loire River Valley is the proximity to Burgundy at the same time.
Bill just hit every bullet point that I was going to bring up, which is great. Thank you for addressing all of that without even knowing what's on my sheet in front of me. The other thing with Sancerre, I think, is it's just that style. Again, the Loire Valley in particular, I think it's just so, when I say terroir driven, when people ask, how do you really describe what's that term terroir, and how do I understand that? If you open up all of Sancerre, just what Mary and Bill were getting into, just the soil that it grows in, the limestone, the clay, the Camaragian, the flintiness, you pick that up in this. It's not that in-your-face grapefruit juice like New Zealand, or the big grassy green bell pepper like in Chile that you can find in Chilean Sauvignon Blancs. It's very distinct. It has its own characteristic. And it's something I try to turn people on to, especially if they love Sauvignon Blanc. I say, well, try this. This is something very different. If you're in that realm, you want to try something completely different, get into Sancerre. Excellent. So get into a little bit about our first wine, the Jean-Pierre Vacher, and the family that creates the two wines on the list for tonight, if you don't mind. The first one would be the white. So everybody's familiar. Again, this whole thing was labeled as 3 shades of Sancerre. As soon as you say Sancerre, it's always the white. But the rosé and the reds are gaining so much more popularity now and really coming more and more onto the scene. And especially with these producers that Mary and Bill bring in, and we're proud to have them in the store, represent them in the store. They're just exquisite, really good wines. So with Jean-Pierre, what's the deal with this family?
So it's a father and son. He bought the vineyard in the 90s. It's about 25 acres. His son came to work with him, Jérôme, in 2004. They make all three colors. We have two in Connecticut, but I'm going to try to bring in the third one. And they just won, I think, this year. Second place
Second place, right?
in the Loire River Valley competition for Sancerre. Last year, they won first place from the Elle magazine. Everyone's got a competition in wine here, but their wines always come in. You can keep their Sancerre for at least 5 years, which it's not unusual. A lot of the Sancerres are between 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
And this particular, when you look, you're in the region, you can see the city of Sancerre up on a hill, and it's a really beautiful picture. But they're actually in Menetou-Raoult, which is outside of the city, so their vineyards look over into Sancerre. And I get lots of different tastes from this, but I'll let everyone figure out what they like about it, or the taste that they get. But it's flinty.
Yeah, go into your glass. Again, you can follow the grid. I put down the attachments on the sheets. So pour it into your glass, give it a swirl, put your nose in the glass. Tell me what, type into the chat room what you're smelling. Just call some things out, but you should be getting that flintiness. Vastly different than that New Zealand. New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc kind of smacks you in that face with that ripe grapefruit juice. People enjoy that. Don't ever take that offensively. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. That's what you like about New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and a lot of people do. Sancerre is a little bit different. You are going to get that citrus note to it, but there's also the flintiness, the savory herbs. I just bought a rosemary plant, so I still have that on my hands, the oils of that. Sometimes you pick up like that really fresh rosemary, thyme kind of notes on that. So in the chat, just call out what you're tasting, what you're smelling rather. Just give it a swirl. Don't taste yet. Oof. Great. Everybody's quiet. Apple, minerally, pear, minerals. Yeah. Limestone. Yeah. Good. Everybody's on the board. You're all hitting the bullet points on this one.
Cool.
So with Sancerre, for the most part, and we get into some people are talking about price and everything, and digging through, and it's when people are looking for like a $12 Sancerre, that's really a tough price point to hit with Sancerre. Is it all about the real estate out there that keeps that price point up?
Yeah, the real estate and the people in Sancerre, they just knew they had a good Sauvignon many years ago. It's funny, they know how to market themselves, and they actually took over Chablis, their neighbor.
Right.
And when you go to Chablis and you talk to the winemakers at Chablis, they say, oh, the guys in Sancerre, they can stay in bed and sell their wine. They don't have to do anything anymore, because Sancerre just took off, and people love there's a citrus fruit. You get lemon, lime. There's even a grassy taste to it. But the $12 Sancerre, I don't know that many, by the way, because they all know one another. If you go to Sancerre, you'll notice that most people's family names are Reverdy, Bailly. Vacher is an exception. There are a few other ones, and there are about 4 or 5 families that have 20 vineyards themselves. So they all know their prices.
Yeah, I mean,
Go
don't quote me on this, but we're talking about a place that's just as big as Hamden, right? I mean, it's not big at all.
Right.
So everyone went to school with each other. Everyone knows their kids. It's exactly as if all of you were making wine right now, and you knew each other's business. And so that's also their strength of being able to maintain their image.
Right. No, absolutely.
Lots of times the The lower price points I'm a little leery about because I don't know. They might have used a lower grape, or I mean, it's still Sauvignon. That's not the problem. But a lot of the negotiants managed to bring down the price, but they're not winemaker wines. So we try to keep it with the little guys.
Right. So, for the most part, all of Sancerre is still doing unoaked Sauvignon Blanc, correct? Are we getting anybody being experimental, pushing the envelope and say, hey, let's see if we could use a little oak aging here, and some of like the cru parts of Sancerre? Are you seeing that at all?
We are actually. The same producer that you're drinking now gave me a bottle about a year ago of Sancerre that he aged for almost a year. And he,
Really? Okay.
it really is experimental for now. It's not a common thing for anyone. If anyone wants, or if a French person thinks of an aged wine, they'll definitely go more into Burgundy than they will into a Touraine or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Very good. Now, at home, everybody's at home. What are you pairing this with? Put it in the comments section. There's a few classic pairings out there with Sancerre. The one that comes to my mind is, especially with cheese, you're talking Loire Valley, you're talking about goat cheese out there. And the one from this region, from Sancerre, is the Corton Sauvignon. Did I say that right, Bill?
Yep.
I did. All
Yeah.
right. Put 10 points on the board for me tonight. My French is absolutely horrible. But so Corton Sauvignon is this aged goat cheese, little gnarly, like brainy rind on the end and around it. Inside, nice firm paste, but the acidity from the goat cheese cuts in with this. It's absolutely beautiful. During the week, we drank a Touraine, and we paired that with a domestic goat cheese producer with similar results. It just, that cheese, if you did the tasting during the week, that cheese was a little more runny. When I'm talking Corton Sauvignon, it's a little firmer.
Yeah, I'll give you a recipe for the goat cheese. For the Corton Sauvignon, that's what we'll buy. But if you don't have that, just get any goat cheese. Just make a slice of your goat cheese, put fresh garlic on it, put it in the oven, let it melt, and then just put it on green salad with oil and vinegar, and have a glass of Sancerre, and you're golden. You're good.
Yeah. Not really. It's simplicity. Keep it simple. Excellent. Now everybody's got great spreads at home. Excellent. So what does everybody think of the first wine? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? Yeah, I see thumbs up around the board. It's great. Excellent. And this is kind of, I don't want to call it textbook, but it's picking up all the bullet points of what Sancerre is, and it's done very well, very well. We've had some, and we brought them in before, some of that hit the $27, $30 price point. It's a different, everybody has their own characteristic. And again, I keep going back to pizza, and before we let everybody in, we were talking about different New Haven spots. Mary just got something from Sally's today. Everybody puts their little twist on it. It's their interpretation. Take away the pizza. Talk about having an electrician come to your house, a plumber come to your house. They're all going to do something. They're going to hook up a light switch differently than the next guy. Yeah, there is one way to do it, but they all have their different interpretation, their different experiences that go into hooking up a light switch, just like a pizza maker does, just like a winemaker within Sancerre. And in the store, we've had people from Sancerre come in. One particular winemaker was actually from New Zealand, and now he makes wine in Sancerre. And just talking to him, he goes, I don't know how to do Sauvignon Blanc any other way except the way we do it in New Zealand, because I just take what I know and I'm doing it in Sancerre. And it's very different than a French born or raised person, winemaker in Sancerre. You're taking somebody from a whole different hemisphere, bringing them up here. Yes, they're making Sauvignon Blanc, but their spin on it's a little different, vastly different. Have you seen some of these New World winemakers coming up there trying to experiment up there?
Sorry, say that again?
Have you seen like New World winemakers, say from the Southern Hemisphere, or even from the United States, coming over to France trying to make wine up there? No.
Not, I mean, apart from the celebrities, if you will, in Provence and all that, but not as much, just because in France, to buy the land is extremely difficult.
Right.
And to be able to run it, yeah. Or everyone's already fighting about the land, so it's hard to get it.
Right.
The
Okay.
Chinese bought Gevrey-Chambertin, which is in Burgundy, for 6 million euros cash.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have that laying around anywhere.
Which broke the hearts of, because all of the local winemakers got together to try to buy it
Yeah.
amongst themselves, and they didn't get to 6 million.
Right. Right. We heard that about that here. Yeah. Excellent. So everybody, pour yourself a glass of the rosé. So we're going to move on to the rosé. We are in the midst of rosé season, just in the beginning, with Memorial Day a few weeks away rather. We are very selective on what we bring in for rosé, and paying close attention to the label here. You're seeing 2018 vintage on there, when there are a lot of 2019s hitting the market now, but do not be afraid of the 2018s, especially from an appellation like Sancerre. They are just coming into their own right now. It's a lot of, that's not the same rule for every rosé out there. So use a little caution with that. Ask questions. Hopefully the person who's serving you or who brought it in actually tasted it. In this case, we tried this well before we brought it into the store, but without hesitation, just because we trust Mary and Bill a lot with anything they're bringing in. But just to try it, to see what stage it's in, so we could translate that to you all when purchasing it if you had that question. So what's the difference with this 2018 rosé? Guys, want to get into that?
Go ahead, Mary.
Between 2018 and 2019, you will say, or?
Yeah. 'Cause this is drinking nice and vibrant, still nice and dry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say Sancerre, and I'd say also Bandol are two of the French, bigger French appellations that you don't really want to drink the Sancerre right away or right when it's fresh, like a Provence rosé maybe, or Côte de Provence. And for me, this is based off, a Sancerre rosé is a Pinot Noir. So even think of Burgundy and their Pinot Noirs, they take many, many years to age. And I think it comes down to the same of the grape varietal, needing a little bit more time in itself than, coming out of the Grenache and the Syrahs of the Provence world.
Yeah, and that's true. And taste them all different stages. I brought in another 2018 Sancerre rosé last week, and it didn't have the nice acidity like this had. It's starting to get that rounded body to it, a little more of that cherry fruit coming out of it. The acidity is starting to come down. Still very drinkable, but it's not at this stage where this is at. Last year we had something from Corbière, and there's another producer that I'm pretty fond of that also produces a rosé out of Corbière. But I'll tell you what, the 2017 drank so much better than the 2018 last year. This is drinking fantastic. So these are 100% correct, Pinot Noir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's it.
And all of these are in stainless steel vats, right? So it's all of the varietals in their purest form, if you will.
Yeah. No, you're just tasting that fresh expression of that fruit. Nice, vibrant, still vibrant. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful stuff. Excellent.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly, where just over time the acidity kind of drops a little bit. I call it the fresh like punkness, of a young person, of a young wine kind of hitting you. And over time it goes down and it just becomes rounder as a wine.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're in Sancerre, you're only talking two grapes, almost like Burgundy. You're talking Sauvignon Blanc and you're talking Pinot Noir. But before phylloxera hit and started wiping out, they were cultivating other grapes. And Bill kind of mentioned that this Sancerre is kind of the brother from another mother of Burgundy and Chablis, where they used to grow Gamay, they used to grow a lot of Pinot Noir, but there was also another white varietal out there before Sauvignon Blanc hit. I forget the name of it. But when phylloxera hit, they started attaching Sauvignon Blanc to the rootstock so that it would take hold. And all of a sudden, Sauvignon Blanc became that major white varietal, actually the major grape in Sancerre, correct?
That is. And I'm wondering if, because I know before the phylloxera, the reds, they were making Gamay and Pinot Noirs, but I'm wondering if the Melon de Bourgogne wasn't the other grape variety in Sancerre, what
Yeah.
you use in Muscadet,
Yeah, right,
on the other end of the Loire River Valley.
right. So what does everybody think of this? How much time did they let this sit on the skins? Very short, no?
Yeah, no time at all.
Yeah, you
This
do.
is on 15 days or so.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
yeah.
Somebody's picking up strawberry. Mhm.
You get a wild strawberry. It's not sweet, but you get that strawberry taste. So
Yeah, like fresh picked
But just to get-
strawberries.
at the end, you get a grapefruit taste. It's
Yeah. Yep. Fruit forward, berries. Yeah. Nice balance of fruit, but not sweet. Correct. Yep. High mineral taste. Yeah, you get that minerality in it still.
And contrary, I know a lot of people see like dark rosés and think sweet automatically, but it's sort of the total opposite of what a lot of people may think.
Right. That's in general for all rosés. When we get into this time of the year, people just I don't want anything sweet. And again, as the popularity of rosé increases every year, and we get a little more, we get another month at it. It seems like every year to the season, and you hear that, and it's constant. I don't want it sweet. They're not all supposed to be sweet. I think we get that idea in our heads because we've had so much white Zinfandel from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't deny it. You all had it. If you were out there in the 80s and early 90s, yeah. See, I see somebody over there covering her face. You're guilty too. You've had it. Don't be bashful. We've all tried something we probably regretted now, but you know what? It's all baby steps. It brings you on to something better, just like what you're tasting now. Excellent. And the producer of this, another small family, correct?
Yes. They have probably 30 acres, just a little bit bigger than the past producer. But yeah, small family. Also been working for a couple generations on it. Very tight-knit, very well known. And actually knows the other producer as well, as we were saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you said, everybody knows everybody there, and they're all kind of amicable about that. They still all help each other, correct?
Yes.
To some degree.
Absolutely.
oh, yes,
Depends on who, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. Right. Still a strong community. That's another good aspect of it. So how do you both find these small families out there and get them here? Is it very difficult?
No, I would say that maybe the difficult part may be more the marketing savviness of some people, if you will. But apart from that, no, everyone is very willing. So the producer of the rosé has been out even in New York for quite some time. But the producer of the white and the red, you guys are some of the first in the country entirely to be drinking this. And because they had enough demand in France, they didn't necessarily need to export for a while. And then finally they decided to. As far as meeting them, it really depends. I mean, Dad's in France, so it makes it a lot easier for me to.
Yeah, we go on weekends and we just go meeting winemakers, drinking their wines, tasting their wines. And if I get a good feeling for the wine and a good feeling for the winemaker, then I ask them if they export to Connecticut, because AOCs are very difficult to understand, but Connecticut legislation and American legislation on wine and alcohol is another whole ball of wax.
Oh God.
But anyway, it's terrible. And then, and of course, there's the wine shows in France. There are a few. My favorite are the independent winemaker shows, where actually they're not for professionals. They're for the French in Paris or in whatever town they go to. And people come with suitcases and they taste the wines and they buy and go back home with 4 or 5 cases of different wines. Well, that's why I go and meet the independent winemakers who are smaller productions and eager to work with people, but like the fact that there's a bridge towards the United States because the family's in France and in the United States.
Yeah. I mean, we went to a wine show back in March, and again, you're seeing a very small percentage of people, you know, from Europe or anywhere else try to get into the United States. And it's a lot of hurdles. So like when a lot of people go on vacation over there, go to visit these different countries, they come back with these wines that they tried there. They said, oh, can you get this here for me? It's not, it really isn't that easy, especially when you're dealing with Connecticut. It's not that easy at all. So yeah, enjoy it while you're there. See if they could send it over to you. But you know what? Show us the bottle. Maybe we can make connections. Again, you know, when I went to the New York show in March, took pictures, I sent them to Mary, you know, just see if they knew them, you know, if they made any connections. And you never know. You never know. I mean, the wine world is big, but we all, especially with these smaller producers and smaller importers, we make all these connections, and that's how we get everything going here. You know, people, you know, everybody helps each other, or we all try to. Even on this end of the business, when I did wholesaling for a little bit, you know, just different accounts, different restaurants, you know, you make mention to people like Mary and Bill, say, hey, go in there, go talk to so-and-so, and they would do the same for me. You know, it's all about relationships. It's all about these connections you make with people, especially if they appreciate good wine. That's the bottom line. If they appreciate good wine, you know, you introduce them to people like that. Excellent.
Yeah. And I want to say, especially in the wine world, the good relationships are very important, more than any other industry that I've known of, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Very good. So have you tried the 2019 in this yet?
We have, yeah. It's just as excellent. I think it might be what Dad is drinking right now, though. Because he had the winemaker actually, well, of the rosé. Of the rosé we have not tasted. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm tasting Le Vacher Rosé.
There you go.
Wow.
That's where I got mixed up.
Wow. And is that coming this year or no? Or we're gonna wait to see that
Yes.
next year?
No, well, I can't make any predictions this year.
Right. I know. It's kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult thing across the board for everyone, right?
We already had a boat arrive at the end of April, which was a feat in and of itself. So,
Yeah, things are still running smoothly. It's just there are fewer boats going around the world, so there are fewer boats that are going to leave for you to be able to pick up. That's all.
Yeah. No, even true. When I'm ordering cheeses, every week I make a list of all these cheeses that I'm looking to get. And pretty much a couple of my importers said, forget it. You want anything from Europe, it's going to be weeks on a ship.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't air freight anything in right now. So it's, you know, we're pushing more domestic right now. Not that that's a bad thing, but, you know, I got people looking for fresh chef from France. I got people looking for Manchego. I just can't get anything right now unless it's already stateside. And whatever stateside is being used up very quick and rationed out to some of the, you know, bigger wholesalers and bigger cheese purveyors out there right now. It's a mess right across the board with everything.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, we're going to move on to the red. And it's only been this year, probably the beginning of this year, late last year of 2019, early 2020. I mean, I've had Sancerre Rouge before. Tasted a lot of great ones, and just trying to find that niche for them. I don't even want to call it a niche, just trying to find it a home. And when people think of French Pinot Noir, they gravitate automatically, they go right to Burgundy. And that's what they like. Then all of a sudden, I don't know if there was an article out there from Eric Asimov or somebody that started talking about Sancerre Rouge and how people should get into that. Then all of a sudden I'm starting to see more traction on that. And we brought this in, and because this one stands out. especially for the affordability and the characteristics it has. So everybody has your Jean-Pierre Vacher. Give that a pour in your glass. So hold it up to a white backdrop and just take a look at the color. I mean, you can see right through this, right there. That's just classic Pinot Noir. And there's very few California producers that make it like this, which I don't even want to call it a French thing, but I think they handle Pinot Noir fantastic. I mean, that's just my opinion. But it's its own characteristic. And a lot of the New World producers, and we tend to say that when we taste them, and people say, well, what is it? What does it taste like? And you say it resembles Old World Pinot from Burgundy, you know. So put your nose in the glass. What are you smelling? You chime in into the chat room. So again, we're still saying 100% Pinot Noir, correct?
Yep.
100%.
This is not like Mr. Wagner's Naomi, where he probably dumps in some Syrah, which would be totally forbidden, correct?
Oh.
I mean, do you both get into any dealings with the AOCs out there, the consortium, the governments, the AOCs of each region? Do you have any communication with them, or that's totally out of?
Well, each region has its own, it's almost considered almost like your tourism department, right? Like the Loire Valley has a Loire Valley Center, and then they will have their own kind of, they control it. We're not in touch with the people ahead of the Appalachians, but the Appalachians are almost like living their communities, right? So even Sancerre, it comes up every, 2-3 years, Dad? Like are we gonna open it up more? Are we gonna keep it as such? Every couple of years, the conversation keeps going to how do we maintain this?
Right.
Mm-hmm. But you don't really get into the people with the AOC, except the winemakers who work within the different organizations because they get represented, unless you get into trouble. So you kind of stay away from the AOCs.
Right.
The organization.
They're for any wine, they're kind of considered the pencil pushers, and you know it's still a respectable job, nothing wrong with it, but it's just they're the guys in the offices. We do the real work is kind of how people see it. Right.
The less you talk to them, the better. The less they're hanging around, the better. Once you're on their radar, it's not a fun thing to be in. Yeah,
but it's definitely politics in France. Same thing as politics anywhere else. It's part of it.
No, I mean we did right before this whole shutdown happened in March, we did a wine dinner utilizing cava from Spain, sparkling wine of Spain. And you want to talk about politics? I had permission from the DO of cava to use their materials to promote this thing. And then I posted pictures of the cava producer. Well, back in 2019, December, cava actually split. So you're talking DO cava. Now they came up, there's 9 producers from the cava DO that went off on their own. It's a whole political thing. And the DO was sending me emails, oh, you can't use that, take those down. And I'm literally holding up 2 bottles, taking a picture saying one says cava, one says the new name on it. I'm like, well, what do you want? But it's pretty serious. I mean, if you're caught, going outside the AOC, especially with Sancerre, do you ever hear of anybody really doing that, or no? Manipulating the blend a little bit?
No, a lot of people, I mean, not that we know, but people will definitely, try to pull it off. They just never get away with it.
Oh, right. Excellent. So this has nice cherry fruit, pomegranate. People are bringing it out. Yeah, light without being sour. Yeah, but what do you smell on the nose? You get a little bit of that smokiness on it. Not a lot. I'm not saying like Chilean Pinot Noir, but get that little hit of smoke on it. Again, no oak aging at all, correct?
Nope.
Beautiful.
Get a lot of cherry. I mean, I do.
Mm-hmm. And this is a 2016. Everybody has 2016s, correct?
Right.
That's current vintage being shipped out. I mean, I know that just because I've been bringing them in. But are you seeing 2017s on the roll too, or no? You still have plenty of 2016s. great acidity. in
No, I
this,
think
too.
we should be getting, the next time we get reds in, we'll probably get a 2017.
Yeah, definitely.
It's ready to ship.
Yeah, beautiful acidity on this. Again, we tasted a red Burgundy during the week, and it didn't have this brightest. I mean, this isn't super abrasive acidity, but it's got nice fine acidity to it. Anything fatty, if you're doing fatty foods, this would be great with it.
Yeah.
It's great with duck.
There you go. Everybody has duck tonight, right? I'd love duck. I don't have it all the time. If I see it somewhere, I'll give it a try. It's been a long time since I've had it, but
It
yeah.
is it definitely is an item that I seek out through in America overall anytime I can, because it's a norm in France, but it's not a norm here. A little raspberry jam or something, it's great, but can't find it here.
There is a duck place. Where is he? West Haven. I'll have to get you the name. There's a guy.
Oh, really?
There is somebody in Connecticut. Yeah, I believe he's in West Haven. I have to look him up. I don't even know if he's in business still, but he used to be at some of the trade shows, and his stuff was really good. But again, I don't have the same experience everyone else may have with duck. I've had it a few times. I loved it. Again, it's one of those things you don't see it everywhere on a menu. But if somebody's making it, I'm definitely jumping in on that tasting.
Yep, for sure.
Bella Bella, thank you. Julia just said it. Yeah, Bella Bella, Robin Bros. Yeah, look them up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Noting it right now.
Yeah, no, make a note. His duck pastrami was outstanding. That's all I'm thinking about now with this.
Yeah.
Good mental note you brought up. Great. So what's everybody else experiencing? What's the main difference between Sancerre and other Pinot Noir? Any defining characteristics?
Sancerre Pinot Noir tends to be lighter than the Burgundy Pinot Noirs in taste.
Yeah, and that comes back to what Dad was saying earlier as far as the terroir goes, the different types of limestones and all of that, but it also goes from the fact that Sancerre will rarely, as I say, maybe it's experimental, but they will not age their Pinot Noir. Burgundy has more than enough experience, aging their Pinot Noirs in various ways with various oaks and so forth. So that's the biggest difference.
And in the 19th century, the red from Sancerre was considered a kind of a low-end wine, and now it's become a high-end wine almost 150 years later. Because even my wife, who's French, if you say, let's taste a Sancerre red, she'll look at me and say, what are you, crazy? Sancerre is white, and I still won't pay the prices for a Sancerre white. That's what she'll say to me. She said, oh, she yells at me all the time. But when she tastes the red, she loves it.
Did you not tell her it's a Sancerre? She wouldn't say anything.
She'll enjoy it. If you tell her it's a Sancerre, she'll tell you you're crazy. Because the French don't have a reflex to think that Sancerre is red. Only 25% of the production is red and rosé. The rest is all white.
Right.
So.
Right.
Well, and Sancerre used to be part of Burgundy. Burgundy was the department or the region of the kings and queens. So Sancerre then separated itself and was kind of, snubbed by Burgundy, if you will, and kind of seen as lower. And so that's why they retaliated in making such a good wine.
Yeah. But there is a vast difference between this and a red Burgundy. I mean, as we're tasting it,
Yeah.
You're tasting a lot of minerality. Tim's bringing that up as well, and I'm tasting it too. But there's that acidity to it.
Well, red Burgundies have a lot more tannins and complexity to it. This is made, as much as it's a rich wine and very enjoyable, this is made to be more of an everyday wine than most Burgundies.
Right. Oh, good point.
This is the type of Pinot Noir that you would put, what I do is I put it in the refrigerator for 20 minutes to a half hour and drink it a little more chilled than a Burgundy Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's great for cocktail time.
No, that's a good point Bill just brought up. I mean, especially with something like this, it's got that that nice cherry fruit characteristic to it, especially with summertime just around the corner. Stick this in stick this in your cooler with your, your White Claws and your beers. Pop it in there, give it a spin on the ice for 20 minutes, pull it out. It's refreshing. There's other red wines like this, like Gamay. Gamay is beautiful with a little chill. Dolcetto from Italy, beautiful with a little chill on it. Don't be afraid to try any red wine like that, but specifically something like this, because they just show well that it's refreshing. Again, when it's hot, it's humid out, it's almost refreshing. And what's the alcohol on this? It's not really coming through, but 12.5, still nice and low. Beautiful. Yeah, many reds can use a chill. Yeah, especially it depends on how cool your house is at a constant temperature. Not all of us have wine cellars, wine caves, or any kind of real wine storage unit. If my office was a little cleaner, I'd show you my setup here, and it's nothing compared to the last one I had. But yeah, pop them in the fridge half hour before you serve them. The reds, the whites, somebody was talking about they had them in the fridge all day today. Yeah, but pull them out 20 minutes to a half hour before you serve them too. That way, especially like with cheeses, but wine's the same way. You don't want to drink them ice cold. Some people like that, and that's fine. Carol loves ice cold wines. I'm looking for flavor in them, but again, it depends if it's hot out. I want them chilled down too. There's a time and a place for, you take all the rules and you throw them out the door, and it's not about proper wine etiquette. It's about fulfilling your need right then and there.
Well, especially like the humidity that we know in Connecticut or New York, like France, or at least where Sancerre is made, they don't know that kind of humidity at all. And that summer that we hate and makes your hair all nuts and all that they don't know that. So you do need a chill in those times. You do need it a little bit, calmer than what the weather is telling you.
Oh, big time. Now, where's your family from out there? You're just outside of Loire Valley, correct? Or are you within the Loire?
Yeah,
Well, actually,
so we're exactly where Dad is. I mean, I'm from exactly where Dad is now in Le Mans. So that's what Dad was saying, the entryway of the Loire Valley, if you will. So my department, it's not called the state, it's called the department, but it's made, we don't really make wine. The only wine we're known for is Genièvre. But we're the beginning of the Loire Valley. So most of, at least my childhood, was spent in the castles of Loire Valley, going through a bunch of Saumur, Vouvray wines. And it was a good time.
Not bad memories.
No.
Not at all.
Explains a lot, probably.
What's that?
Said it explains a lot, probably.
But I grew up in West Haven, and I'm not ashamed.
No, you say that, but every time he comes in, customers around. I'm from West Haven,
We have a constant war between Zupardi's and Sally's. That's what happened.
Well, yeah, Zupardi's now
Different people.
Frozen pizzas for grocery stores, and they ship all over. And
Yeah, I saw that actually. I don't know if I'm impressed or not, but I mean, I'm sure it's delicious.
I have not tried it yet, but from what people that have, they said it's absolutely outstanding. I mean, would you expect anything less,
Yeah, that's for sure.
So someone said, how did you make it? How'd you end up in Wallingford?
I ended up in Wallingford. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, Wallingford, our company is based in Wallingford, but my office is my car to this degree. So, yeah, West Haven, Le Mans is more of our home.
Yeah, the office is just in Wallingford, correct?
It's the business address.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's where people get confused. Not even so much confusion, but when they look at the back of the label, especially since your name's on there, they say, "Oh, wow, this is made in Wallingford." And you go until yesterday, I had somebody say, "Oh, wow, this is what was it? Alsace. Oh, they make this in North Haven, Connecticut." No. That's the import. That's how it gets here.
Yeah. Well, because there's residential addresses and business addresses, but as an importer, the only address that really matters is your warehouse address, which isn't in your control anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's commenting they've had sparkling in Saumur many years ago. Right.
Yes. Sauvignon is the reason why I started this job. Actually, I was tired of drinking proseccos and cavas, so I really loved my Sauvignon. That's what I grew up on, and I figured we had good guys to show too.
That'll be coming eventually.
I was gonna say that. Are you venturing into more sparkling wines? I know we have your champagne. Are you starting to seek out more sparkling wine producers out there?
I've got a Vouvray ready to come, but now with all this
Oh,
nonsense.
right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, we had a lot of things we wanted to start in September, which I think with everything going on, they'll probably end up starting in January or kind of push it back a quarter or so.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Every appellation out there, their sparklings are so different. We've had Cremant de Loirs. I haven't had many. Again, this is something I would have to sit and drink with you at some point to drink sparkling wine from Sancerre. I'm still a cava person. Don't hate me. Don't hate me at all. But
We don't hate you. We think the world of you, but we'll change your mind.
I know you will. I know both of you will.
You have one night on Rioja, and I'll have one night on sparkling, and that's how we'll educate each other.
Yeah, no, we'll just flip them back and forth. Absolutely. I'm down for that anytime. It's always a treat when Mary and Bill come down, and especially when they have goods to bring from France, because you can smell them coming from the parking lot. It's a treat.
We smuggle in cheese for Chris and Carol.
Some of the best cheeses we've had, and again, it's stuff you can't necessarily get here unless you know somebody that does that. But again, going back, to terroir, when you're tasting, especially I think you brought in a Poise one time, especially straight from France, vastly different than what you're going to get here. Again, when we were talking about delayed shipments coming in and this and that, even with all that, you can't get a Poise or even the Brie de Meaux like they're going to experience there. It's totally different. But with the wines, in that same respect, the wines they don't really hold back on. They ship whatever they can to come over here, right? They're not holding anything back like top tier product, are they?
No, not at all. And more importantly, wines, there's no FDA regulations around it, if you will, versus cheese. French cheese in the FDA is not a love affair, so breaks things down.
But the Epoisse you mentioned, Epoisse is the only cheese, and you have to believe this, in France that is prohibited on public transportation because it smells so bad.
Oh God, yeah. That's what makes it
But
good.
it is good.
Yeah, that's what makes it good.
Can I just point out that Dad would, trying to pass customs, would put it in his inside jacket instead of the suitcase. So giving a hug when he came off the airplane was great.
Yeah, right. You could
The
tell.
dog doesn't check your coat. The customs
Yeah, they
people
only
don't
check the
your
bags.
coat. They check the bags.
That's a beautiful thing. So before we conclude, I'm going to open up the chat room. I'm going to open up for everybody to chime in. But before it gets too loud where we can't hear each other, Tracy's asking what cheese is called Applause. I could send you an email. But I want to thank Mary and Bill taking the time out on Mother's Day on Sunday night for coming down. So everybody give them a round of applause as I unmute everyone. All right. Thank you both. I appreciate you guys doing this with us. I love what you do. I love you guys. Love your wines.
Yay, thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All of the
Thank you.
mothers.
Salud.
Applause.
Hi, Diane and Diane.
So the floor is yours, everybody. Ask questions. Make comments about the
Thanks for having
Oh, how fun.
I'm gonna cheers.
Cheers.
Close it. Cheers. Cheers.